Welcome to Deep Dive Film School. I'm Adam Sherlock.
And I'm Adam Pulcher.
If you like what you see / hear, please like and subscribe. You can find us on those spaces and places that people what?
Find good media, that's right. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. Those are our most active channels. You can also follow me at Letterboxd at Adam Pulcher. Follow me there. All right, this is a Forgotten Gem episode, rounding out our Peter Greenaway Festival, the final film.
It's been a hell of a fest.
I was going to say, before we end out this festival, wow. What an under-discussed master of his craft.
Totally.
He really has blown me away with this festival. There's so much from other movies. We've talked about many other directors, Wes Anderson specifically, I think a lot, with the art direction and, the symmetry that he has. Symmetry is a big thing here today as well. But the symmetry he has in his shots and just kind of, you could see a lot of him in there, but also other things. And having this British influence is really interesting too, just because it's like something that I didn't grow up with like you. And, I cannot believe you fucking watched this movie as a kid.
I know.
Like, how old were you when you saw this movie?
Probably
There's so many dicks.
I was probably like 13, I think. I want to say, I think I was like 13 or 14. Yeah, there are a lot of dicks. I mean, it also is like, it's also worth noting too that it's like at a time when I think the heightened reality of weird symmetry and weird, really
the artsy
hyper stylized like color palettes and all these things was, you were giving all this credit to somebody like Kubrick, and you're like, but he was doing this too. Like Greenaway was doing like the color palettes and the weird like symmetry and just like the attention to detail in these like insanely creative and symbolic ways. Something like A Zed Two Noughts is like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy the things that just that opening shot of the blue zoo sign.
Yeah.
You're like, is it a painting? What am I looking at?
He definitely has a very specific style. And yeah, the art direction, that cinematography will always stick with me.
Yeah.
It will, just knowing like what he did and how he did that. And, he actually moves the camera in an unconventional way near the end of this movie. It really threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
What an exciting guy to talk about. I can't believe he wrote all of this shit as well.
And I think this is movie number 2.
Was this 2?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is probably my least favorite of all of them.
Oh, okay.
Although it's fucking great still.
Right.
It's a fun ride. It's by far his weirdest one.
Yeah, it really is.
And but the themes, it's less plot driven than the other movies.
It's more meditative.
Yeah, and like it, usually in the first like 5 minutes which is the horrible piece of shit in the room, and it takes a while here.
Yeah,
you kind of have to figure out like what's actually going on here. So it is different than his other movies, but again, that's not a bad thing. I love that a director that can still be in their own style but do something stylistically maybe a little bit different, but story-wise as well.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, and I think that was something that was talked about a lot with this movie, is that the characters' motivations are so strange that it's hard to really connect with any one person. All the people here are odd. Like, you get the impression that even before this catalyst, which happens in the very first 5 minutes of the movie, that drives the rest of the movie, like even before that, these were deeply strange people. And that this just made them even weirder.
It's true. It's like, I don't even know how Greenaway comes up with this idea for like to do this.
It was literally like,
he's so out there.
I read an interview with him about where he came up with the idea for this movie, and it was literally like there was a photograph that he saw of a woman with these 2 identical twin men, and then there was a story that he read that was someone who wanted to start a zoo with just black and white animals because he was colorblind. And then the other part was like a poem that he read. And the 3 things were just kind of like tumbling around in his head for a couple of years. And then he was like, oh, and then he just wrote this. And I'm like, okay, but that still doesn't make any sense, because it's insane. Like,
it is absolutely insane. And it is, I will give it this, my second favorite twin doctor movie.
under Dead Ringers.
Dead Ringers. It was hard not to think of Dead Ringers.
Oh yeah,
this.
totally,
Absolutely.
totally.
Cronenberg definitely another influence who took a lot from this, especially this movie.
Yes,
I can see that
very much
because
so.
he loves the body horror,
and there's a lot of body horror elements in this movie.
Just the decay, the whole idea of decay, right? And I really love what this movie is about, but it was more unconventional than his other movies.
Yeah, I like this. There's a lot of duality. There's a lot of conversations between science versus religion. There's a lot of Adam and Eve which we know.
His other stuff is totally like
that. But then right after we talk about Darwin, right?
But we also get some great twists that you don't see coming too, or things that are like, you're just telling us that now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're an hour and some change into the movie before we get like a really, really big twist. So let's go through the plot just a little bit here. We basically have
twin
zoologists, Oswald and Oliver. Also, they're obviously the two Noughts, the two O's, right? From the title.
Zoo.
Oswald and Oliver Deuce. So also, again, there's so much. This probably has the most symbolism in it next to, I would say, probably Drowning by Numbers. I think Drowning by Numbers
I could see that.
Goes even a little bit further than this does. But it also is like, sorry, now I'm on a tangent, but I also feel like that there's something interesting about Greenaway where these early movies of his almost feel like concept records from a band. Like you think of like The Cook the Thief and you're like, oh, this one's all about colors, man. And then like Belly of an Architect's like all about shapes and all about like birth and death. And then this one is all about the alphabet. And then Drowning by Numbers is all about the numbers, right? And you're kind of like, that's really unconventional and really unique, these themes.
Love it.
And so anyway,
I had not put that together.
So these two brothers are both married to women that somehow end up in the back seat of a woman named Alba Bewick's car, which then collides with a swan and
murderous swan.
A murderous swan and kills the two women. And this first shot, we have this like weird thing of the lion going back and forth in the cage with the zebra's head.
Zebra.
And Oswald is a zebra, yes. Oswald is ticking its lapse when he hears the crash, and he looks up and he straight up breaks the fourth wall. He looks directly into the camera. It was like, what?
Well,
and then that shot of the crashed car with the
window broken out
and the swan and the like barricade thing, and the feathers, and you're like, I've never seen anything like
There's
that
so many
before
shots
in my
this.
life.
Just watching his filmography that I've never seen before.
Yeah,
you're just like, what
insane.
are you doing? Your level of depth and depth of field and layering is wild. You know, again, we've talked about this a lot, and he still does it here. You know, we're in Alba's rooms throughout these huge, crazy rooms. Everyone's rich in all of his movies.
The windows, like they go up as high as Hannibal's does in the Hannibal TV show. Like it's like the windows in his house in the house are just like enormous. I'm like, this is a hospital? Like, where are we?
But there's no dialogue in this first probably 5 minutes. We're going and we're cutting through kind of this nature, you know, these cuts of animals and different things. And then we're seeing animals with limbs gone,
Yep.
You know, that they're trying to help out. And we're getting we assume, you know, some of the animals in the zoo itself. The flamingo, they're flamingo rich.
Yeah, they're flamingo rich, totally. Well, and then there's a whole subset of like how we have this like nefarious zookeeper, who's really mad that the flamingos don't look the way that tourists want them to look because they don't have the fish that they can eat to make them pink.
Hoyton, right?
Yes. And he's an amazing character. There's so many amazing subplots beyond just the main plot. Like there's a zoo prostitute that hangs out that's whose name is Venus de Milo, and weirdly the Venus de Milo isn't the one that's missing a leg. There's another woman who's missing the leg.
Yes.
But for, you know what I mean? It's, you're like, okay, there's all these like layered weird things. We were making the joke before we started, is a zebra black with white stripes or white with black stripes? And like, what difference does that make? And again, it's these dualities of themes. Now, I will say really early on, if we want to talk about what kind of an insane genius Greenaway is that, again, as this being an earlier film, when it shows the newspaper which is like the most amazing photo too. That's the two dead
Yeah.
wives of the twins,
Through the
and they're both
right.
just sitting there with their heads together, like you would ever publish a picture of two corpses, but whatever.
Yeah.
When it shows that newspaper, do you know this?
Oh yeah.
The two other articles that are in it.
Oh, I didn't.
The two other articles in the newspaper. One of them says architect dies. This is before he made the movie.
Oh really?
He hadn't made Billy of an Architect.
What's the other one?
Hot bath heart attack from Drowning by Numbers.
Yep.
So he references movies he hasn't made yet
Amazing.
in the newspaper clipping, and it's just a see it and miss it thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my
that's
God,
so good.
like what? Yeah.
I mean, there's some wild choices in here. The whole, David Attenborough narrating, watching his
Yep.
show. And then also you have just this Herzog level of nature.
Yeah.
Like introspection almost. And they're obviously obsessed. Well, they walk away from their wives' funerals being like, it's so weird their bodies are just decomposing in there.
And he's like,
without us seeing it.
Yeah, my wife is pregnant. Like, do you think that'll make her decompose quicker or slower?
Yeah, that's
and
where
you're
their
like, oh,
minds
there's
go.
something really wrong with these guys. Like, and I like that in the beginning of the movie, like, it's pretty easy to not think that they're twins at all. They're incredibly different looking. One of them has like bleached blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
They dress very differently.
They don't look like twins.
Until
Yes.
you get deeper into the movie and they start to turn into one person, which is its own weird
We'll get to that.
thing. We'll get to that. But yeah, and in the beginning, like they're both trying to grieve in these different ways. Oswald, it takes it really poorly. He starts eating glass. This is a wild sequence.
Talk about a horrible way to go.
I mean,
I'm going to kill myself by
eating glass. Yeah. And it is like a real, again, for a director who so rarely shows us the gory bits, this is a surprisingly overt kind of moment.
Ice.
Yeah, it's just ice, but still, it's very, very terrifying. And Oliver starts obsessively watching these Attenborough documentaries, and he's trying to get the answers to like, well, where did the swan come from, and like, what did we do to deserve? And I love that magical thinking,
I agree.
right?
He's my favorite of the two.
Yeah, where he's just like, where did it start from that it came here? Now, the other thing that happens is that Alba, the woman who was driving the car, she has one of her legs amputated. So her surgeon cuts off the leg because, it was so badly damaged. And then as the movie continues along, as you were saying, like, who's the biggest piece of shit in the room? It surprisingly turns out, I would say more than anyone else, to be her surgeon, who throughout the rest of the movie just slowly starts disappearing this woman. He's just like, well, now your body is lopsided, so now we got to cut off your other leg, right? And they just like keep chopping her away until finally she's gone, It's like, and what a weird, it's like something from a Terry Gilliam film or something.
Totally,
like
I could see
it's
that.
one of the most bizarre concepts. And she's really nonplussed about it. Like she's a little upset in moments, and then also is kind of just like, c'est la vie. Like
It's true. She's a strange character.
She's a very strange
in this
character.
movie, and again, we're still trying to get to know these twins. They don't seem like they're that close,
right.
And like you said, they don't even really look like twins at the beginning here, which is on purpose, of course. And they kind of just have their own lives and are doing their own things until their wives die.
Yeah.
And like you said, that kind of catapults everything out here.
Along with, as you pointed out, the conversation from the funeral around decomposition.
Exactly. And so they get obsessed with this. He's watching those ducks. I love that shot of him in the theater with the pile of magazines.
Yes.
And he's watching it in the theater by himself, just trying to figure it out. And someone comes in and he's like, what's that stench? He's like, it's me. I've been here too long.
Yeah. He's just been like habitually watching these without even leaving to shower or do anything else, right?
Yeah.
And it is like they're both trying to...
I don't know. They keep questioning Alba. Right?
Yeah.
And
what did she...
what is your relationship with our wife? I don't think we really get a great answer.
I don't think we do either. And she's very cagey and she won't really...
But she's hitting on them too at the same time.
Yeah, which
separately
ends up working. And
she wants a threesome bad.
She wants a threesome with two twins, which, I mean...
Who doesn't?
Thanks for finishing my thought for me. But no, I think that there's... But I think that there is something they do start hanging out more, the two brothers.
Yes.
And they start talking more, and they do start very early on doing these things of finishing each other's sentences. It starts, and then you start to go, oh, there is something weird here, that this tragedy is starting to bring these guys back together. Now, the other thing that's happening is that they start liberating animals from the zoo. They just start small with some of like
Disabled
the flamingo,
animals,
some of the flamingos, some of these different animals,
Prawns.
the prawns, and then they are also buying animals that are dying, and they're starting to use them specifically. I believe it's Oliver that is starting to do these time lapse photography things, and it takes a while for us to see
part of the movie.
how they're doing them. That reveal is a gorgeous piece of filmmaking. But before that, we just sort of have what they were calling the bug room. It's really just like, this sort of cold, sterile setup with like a grid on the bottom of it. And there's an animal in there. And we start with the prawns, and we get this time lapse sped up to this like insane piece of music by
I was going to mention that, and I have his name written down. Michael Nyman.
Thank you.
It's my favorite score of all of these movies.
It's incredible.
So good. It reminded me very much of Clint Mansell and Requiem for a Dream.
Yep.
But it's like this high pitched like piano.
Yep.
But it's fast.
It's almost a harpsichord, like a
but it's
like
so good.
It's so good.
I love it.
And it's so chaotic and almost scary in the scenes where everything is decomposing.
Yeah.
And like those can be a lot. Like those, I remember that stuff sticking in my head the first time I watched this. Like for a while, like, I feel a little green around the gills after watching.
Especially if you've never
some of
seen anything like that before and
Yeah.
seen what a body decomposing actually looks like, and all that snails.
It makes it look alive. Like it starts.
Yeah, it's like almost has a
moving.
pulse, but it's all these bugs and animals that are just kind of taking it over, and it's wild.
And they start saying, well, now we got to get something bigger. Now we got to get something bigger.
Yeah.
And then
they look at Alba.
Yep. And at some point they're like, we need a person. Like that's what this has to be.
Yep.
And of course that's sort of happening in fits and starts as other things are happening here. This subplot with the zookeeper, who is running like, I don't know. He seems like he might be some kind of gangster. Like he sort of has like, these weird, lackeys that work for him. And then there's the zoo prostitute that's there. That's like writing pornography. That's like, bestiality pornorography and selling it on the side.
And then
like
the lady with the big hat, the red hat.
That's sort of like his spy. He's he's like seduce the twins, and like she tries to, and they don't go for it. I do love that little secret moment where they have Alba's daughter with them at the restaurant, and she is asking them, and it's interesting because it starts as like a scientific quandary, but it's about that woman's underwear and what color it is.
Yeah.
It's a pretty great little like sidecar moment of the movie that I thought was pretty fantastic.
I agree. Really funny, and of course it's black with white stripes.
Black with white stripes. But then the twist is she's not wearing anything, and she just flashes him and it slaps the shit out of him.
Yeah,
which is like a fantastic moment.
It's
and
true.
Yes, again, if you picture me at 13 watching that, like
sure. Oh yeah,
and being like, that was amazing.
Oh, for multiple ways at a 13-year-old. Would you call this movie a comedy though? It was listed as a comedy, and I was like, I don't know.
I mean,
there's some funny moments, and I get like he has a sense of humor through all of his movies, but Drowning by Numbers was way funnier than this. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a comedy, but I think in the same way that we've been talking about all of his movies, it's
he's
like
got a little bit of everything.
Well, I mean, like what would you call Lost Highway? Is it a thriller? Is it a horror
psychological
movie?
Thriller? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, though? You're like, I feel like Greenaway is kind of like Lynch, where you're like, what do you actually call his movies, right? And you're like, it's tough because there's so much going on, and there are funny parts, and there are scary parts, and there are themes that you kind of lay awake at night going, I hate that. That's weird. I don't like that at all, you know?
Yeah. the whole idea of evolution here, and their very personal view of he has a very personal view of evolution. He talks about what my wife may have, like her evolution and my evolution is in common. So that again, religious themes that we're taking on here. There's a lot here. Standing the guy who Alba ends up marrying, also no legs.
Yep.
And they have this shot of him standing with two legs and
her
in front of a fence.
Yeah.
And then it's Venus next to him. That shot I've never seen before either. That's just another one of them. And the tigers in the background.
Yeah, or at one point a zebra is going back and forth in the background. And I mean, there are these moments that I'm like, they're so, I go, was this originally in the script, or during shooting did they have a magic moment? Because like one of them, and I'm like, obviously it's on purpose because it's so symbolic, but the beginning, we see that iconic blue neon zoo sign, right?
Yes, of course.
And that's when we start to meet a lot of these characters. Well, in part of the one of the Attenborough documentaries, he's quoting Darwin saying, from the primordial ooze we came, and once we are done and we decompose, back into the ooze we go. Well, at the end of this, when Venus de Milo is walking off, she walks off right as those sprinklers start. It's such an amazing scene. Mm-hmm. And we're assuming she's walking off probably to go get killed by the zookeepers, gangsters, dudes, because subplots. And the zoo sign is backwards.
Yeah.
And so it says...
So you're inside the park.
And it says ooze.
Yeah.
OOZ.
Yep.
So she's going back to the primordial ooze.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, my head hurts. Like there's like so many little nesting boxes of intention and symbolism. I mean, even just down to even saying that like A Zed Two Noughts obviously is ZOO, right?
But just OO is there sometimes too.
And just OO are the two brothers.
Oswald and yep.
But they also a knot also means a nothing.
Yeah.
A knot means a failure, right? Mm-hmm. It's a zero. It's a null and void thing, right? And Z is also an ending, right? A Z is the end of the alphabet.
Yep.
Alba is the start.
She's the beginning.
Her daughter's name is Beta. Mm-hmm. So and then they go through the alphabet and they name all the different animals of the alphabet. And so it's like, there's so many symbolic layers. I agree with you. It's like, is the movie impenetrable in a lot of ways? And that makes it harder to enjoy than say like the deeper, richer element of something like Bello the Architect. And I'm like, yeah, totally. But the symbolism is so...
Yeah.
It like washes over you to this degree where you're like, it's a tone poem. It's almost not even a movie, right?
Good.
It's like these characters are not here to grow. This is like a Greek tragedy where they're going to go through these motions of grief and get us to our culminating end. Because the culminating end is like one of the most gorgeous sequences. It's been burned into my brain for decades. And sort of like what it means and that they are failures at the end. They don't complete their life's work that they've decided to. Of course, yeah, they don't know that. They're already dead. But I just like all of those layers really work for me.
No, I agree. No, like the symbolism here is the themes are very heavy. Like heavy-handed to some degree, but not bad. And especially with them being twins, she does finally get her threesome. She is seducing them together.
And then she gets pregnant.
And then she's pregnant.
Potentially with it's both of their sperms.
They assume they have no idea who's the real father. Right?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Which is kind of interesting and funny and a weird plot twist.
And as they're laying on either sides of her, she starts to ask what these scars are that they have.
That's right.
And they're like, I always like being on the left. And I always like being on the right. And you realize they were conjoined twins.
Siamese twins, yeah.
Siamese twins. I don't think you can use that term anymore.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Anyway, let us know in the comments. They're conjoined twins. And then it like that becomes the new obsession is they want to be put back together.
Yeah, that's where
They get the big suit made. It's like a very David Byrne.
I was gonna
right.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's David. Where's David Byrne?
Yeah, and then they're jogging together, and their legs and arms are tied together. It's the weirdest. It's so and like as a premise that should be funny, right? That should be funny, and instead it is more Cronenberg than it is funny. It is way more like disturbing that these guys are like. Their personal identities,
what it would be like to be together again.
Yeah, their personal identities
and they start dressing
morphing
exactly
away.
Alike,
yeah,
and then they definitely become more twins looking. And
it's kind of scary.
I don't know. I think they do care which one of them is the father, though.
Right.
And they do argue over it. And they have a really honest conversation about Alba at one point, and I think they frame it so perfectly. But he says that she's taking advantage of two brothers who don't know the difference between pleasure and grief.
Oh my God.
And she's also takes advantage of her loneliness or theirs.
Right.
And I thought that was like, that's the whole relationship right there. Like,
which is so funny because she is in this state. She's constantly
like,
even though she's in control.
Wreck the car on purpose.
Right. Even though she's in control, another strong woman in a Greenaway film with dealing with these doddering men that don't know what to do. Right.
These guys are less doddering than most of the other male characters
but they are
outside of the Droughtmen, maybe.
But they are zeros.
Yes.
They are voids. There is nothing much there, right? And it's like, this idea that she somehow is the mastermind and is in control and manipulating these guys, and she's bedridden through the whole movie, and at the end she dies. Like you're like, but she's in control. She's in control of everything, right? When she, they become so obsessed with her that they find out about her family's land.
She had an abortion, right? And they criticize her for that.
Yeah, l'escargot, right? They just because she had a photo of it like on her table.
Yeah,
and that's this magical place. That's the part of the movie that feels the most like Drowning by Numbers, just in terms of like these really rich landscape shots. This very fog ridden. There's a part where they're rowing her along through this like
it looks like a painting.
It's the weirdest, most artificial looking little river.
But yeah, it seriously looks like something you'd see in a Van Gogh painting.
Yeah,
it's
totally
crazy beautiful.
And this magical landscape is infested with snails.
Yeah.
So that becomes the new obsession, right?
Yeah. For Oswald anyway. Yeah.
And again, it's like these themes that keep kind of like opening up.
Regeneration and decay. And what does that mean? What does that mean when you're an animal? I think they view themselves as animals as well, which is why they start wanting to test this on humans and really want to see what that looks like, because no one's really captured on video. And this is really just, like you said, a bunch of photos put together, just like a normal time lapse would be, obviously non-digital, like today's world. But
so they have these like weird cameras that take this big bright flash. There's this moment of Oswald, and he's and it's like he's sitting and he's talking. I think he's like transcribing to his diary. He's like talking out loud, and it's one of these few. Yes. Oh my God! It's one of these few dolly shots. And the camera starts to, because we see him and we can see that like the light around him looks really stylized and is doing weird things. We don't totally understand it. And then as the camera starts to dolly back away, we see that at this point he's become so obsessed. He has dozens of these bug box things set up with the flash and then off and then flash. And there's everything in it. You're like, there's an ape, there's a zebra, there's a dog. Sorry. There's a dog there. And like the lights are going off at different intervals. And I'm like, this looks like something from Silence of the Lambs.
It's wild.
Like
it's a wild shot.
Like intense.
I've never seen anything like it too. Yeah. Just like, you see, his obsession has gotten out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he also
I'm like, what does that room smell like?
But he just sits and watches them too.
Over and over and over again.
As a zoologist and a doctor, I could see the scientific part of that, and you're opening up something new and different and a whole other world of questions of what happens after we die. So I don't know.
But it's also really interesting because now that I'm thinking about it, like less so Droughtman's, but with a lot of Greenaway's other movies that we've covered, a person who is otherwise fairly, um, well, I hate to say normal, but a fairly ordinary person has something happen that makes them get a tenuous grip on reality, and we see that person or people start to kind of deconstruct, right? And that's what the story is about. You go Belly of an Architect. It's like he starts to get sick, believes that his wife is poisoning him, right? And then we see his life unravel, and that's the story. Drowning by Numbers, this one woman just suddenly decides that she's done with it, and she kills her husband, and that becomes a contagious idea, and this whole town of people start dying off because or are murdered because of these things, right? It's like he enjoys having these stories. Same thing with the cook, the cook, the thief, right? As it's like this affair is the catalyst that unravels this entire sort of like crime, syndicate, as well as like all of the people that are in orbits around it. And here it's really like, yeah, these guys lose their wives and therefore like release their grasp on reality to such a degree that they're like, oh, the best thing that we could do, the best way that we could honor our dead wives is to give the world a film of us decomposing. And you're like, what are you talking about? But if you take the journey with them all the way to the end, you're like, oh, of course it has to be them.
Yeah.
Like you buy into it, even though it's fucking nuts. It makes no sense at all. You're also like, yeah, you kind of been with them every step of the way, even though you can't really identify with these guys.
Yeah, not at all.
And this final sequence of like, of course this is what's going to happen. Like it's kind of a perfect ending.
It is.
To this weird of a film.
It's kind of a weird bow onto it, and then the power goes out.
Because the snails cover everything. The snails cover the front of the snails, and she even says that too, right? She's like, oh, if you went out for a picnic and fell asleep on the picnic blanket, you'd wake up covered in snails, right?
Yeah.
And so they drug each other, they lay down, they're in their weird suit.
And this is where his shot starts moving, right?
Oh my God.
He just kind of goes around behind the table and above them.
And that canopy,
he's never done that before.
With them on the weird bed thing like that, and the angle of it, like it's the lighting, and we even see it from across the river at one point, and it's just gorgeous. It's like the fog is rolled in, and then that dolly up shot is like masterful. And then as they slip away out of consciousness and die, all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's snails on their feet, and there's snails on their chests,
everything.
And then they're covering the cameras, and then they cover the plugs, and then it shorts it all out. And I love that even the record player is playing the
a lot of animal themed music throughout here.
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed.
Elephant Never Forgets.
Yep.
You've got Teddy Bear's Picnic.
Yep.
Again, the themes are so spot on. It's like it's just very,
especially being twins. You have the duality already just sitting right there.
Yeah.
The fact that what does she say to them after she finds out that they were Siamese twins, which is what they say in the movie. Which
I know.
Is why I said that.
I'm mainly joking.
But she says something along the lines of like, why wouldn't you tell people that? That's something to kind of like almost brag about your evolution.
Right. Your evolution.
Yeah. Something like that. Like I can't remember exactly how she put it, but anyways, the symmetry is so big here, and they are always on the right and left, and you don't notice it at first, right?
No.
And then it starts making more and more sense, and they start looking more and more like each other, and it's just, there's got to be one fucked up twin, I guess, right?
I mean, either that or there's one fucked up twin, or it's like when they were separated, they didn't make two whole people, right? It's like they made two broken halves of people, and that's how they've been living their lives. Although also weirdly, their wives in that newspaper photo also kind of look like twins. They look exactly the same.
I was wondering if they were married to twins. They never say that. And of course, we didn't mention this. Alba has twins when
That's
she does
yes,
give birth.
she does have twins. She does have twins.
The odds
Yeah.
were high there, I think.
It's
And then
just
that terrible doctor tries to like, do you have a basically like looking for a backup baby?
yeah.
I was just like, dude, what the fuck is
Well,
happening?
the fact that the doctor, the reason why the doctor keeps experimenting on Alba and cutting parts of her off is because, and this is the most Greenaway plot point you could possibly have, is that the doctor is Van Hoyten. That's his name.
Yeah.
The doctor is obsessed with recreating the Jacobean era paintings of Johann Vermeer. So he wants to. That's where he's got her sitting at the little piano, and he's like, "It's just not right," and it's because he needs to cut off the other leg to get her to sit in there just right. And you're like, "That's a Greenaway, psychosis thing, right?"
Totally.
Where it's like that's why that's a plot point for
He's
a character.
fucked up.
Yeah,
There's no doubt he's fucked up,
Yep.
but in a great way.
in a fantastic way. Just like it's
And-
the kind of stuff that I love about movies.
It's true, and like these are, I can get like Greenaway's not for everyone. There's some
Sure.
crazy shit here, especially this one. I wouldn't start with it just because it is probably the oddest. I'm glad I actually waited till the last one to really absorb him as a director and see this one because
it is the toughest. It's the decomposing stuff in it. Like it's weird,
and it's all overly artistic and experimental and stuff like that. But as film geeks,
it's fun.
we love that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, long or short coffin, Sherlock.
That's one of the best. I love that so much. Where they're
Well,
like,
you'll fit into the frame better.
yeah, exactly.
That's another
That's
funny
right.
one.
Fit into the frame better. I forgot about.
When you have no legs.
Oh man, it is.
So there is some funny parts to this,
Yeah.
but yeah, I wouldn't bill it as a comedy. But
No,
what
no.
an amazing festival! What a wild director! I'm so glad we did this. I really didn't know what I was getting into, and I love surprises like this. It's always a big part of why we do this podcast.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
all right, well, stick with us. We're going to continue our next festival. We're going to do a chamber piece festival. We're going to start off with Hitchcock's Rope in a couple of weeks. Next week, we are going to do That One's Seen, something Halloween themed. I think we still got to figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Please join us, like and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also follow me at Letterboxd at Adam Pulcher. All those links are in the description below. So please join us there, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, you guys.
Thanks, everyone.